Story 1. Objectively, if your significant other is concerned, maybe you should listen, assuming they have your best interest in mind. I have lost 27 pounds since last year, and part of that, besides knowing I was overweight, was my wife mentioning that we really need to lose weight. If your significant other says it, consider taking action. Story 2. First off, I am already doing it. Second, I would say in my best Arnold voice, come with me if you want to lift. Story 3. It depends on whether I am overweight. I know my husband would only inform me if he was concerned for my health, so if he brought it up, I would be grateful but sad that it reached that point. Story 4. As a woman, I mentioned to my husband that there were physical barriers to intimacy at his current weight that we didn't experience when he weighed less. I aimed to keep it purely factual that a larger belly presents a challenge during intimate moments. It should also be noted that a man can gain an average of 1 inch in penis length for every 20 pounds of weight loss. Story 5. This isn't about attractiveness. You've gained weight since you started traveling more for work. You're less physically able. I want you to be able to play with the kids. I want to travel, be mobile, and stay active. I'm worried about whether you will be able to play with our grandkids if we have any. I bought running shoes within a week and never looked back. Story 6. I gave birth to his child last year, and I am 10 kilograms heavier than before pregnancy. However, he suggests that we both eat healthier and exercise more, which I am fine with. It seems like you either asked incorrectly or are with someone who did. Story 7. It depends on how they asked it. If it was condescending and rude or involved name-calling, I would leave. My partner brought it up when I was at a low point in my life and had been gaining weight, and it came from a place of concern for my health. He also asked how he could best support me. It was hard to hear, and I became a little defensive. But when I did, he did not double down or raise his voice. He simply voiced his concerns and encouraged me to talk about what was going on with me. Story 8. Working out and losing weight are important. Love is wonderful, but without attraction, you might just end up as best friends. If someone brings it up, it's because you have been slipping, and they are genuinely concerned for your well-being. Story 9. I have a history of an eating disorder, and I am at a low normal weight. I would definitely not be happy with myself and would likely diet to a lower weight. I am much more reluctant to exercise, to be honest. If it were a get fit or else situation, even if that might be healthier, I couldn't see the relationship working. In fact, it wouldn't work in the first case either, but it would probably take me a bit longer to realize that. Story 10. Take their words seriously and reflect on their validity. Consider what it means to them and what it means to me. Story 11. Well before I gained any weight, I was 130 pounds at 5 feet 5 inches. He told me one day, if you ever get fat, I'm leaving you. I never felt great after that, and it completely affected intimacy for me moving forward, especially after having our child. We're getting divorced. I lost over 30 pounds, and I did it for myself, not for the sake of keeping that marriage intact. Story 12. My wife has expressed concern about my sedentary lifestyle since becoming a stay-at-home dad, and she's absolutely right. I started making sure I do something active at least once a day. I'm not overweight, at 6 feet 2 inches and 185 pounds, but it's for my health, and she wants to ensure I'm here for the kids. It's all about how you approach the topic and why. If you want someone to work out just so you have an easier time getting off, they will know. Story 13. My husband spoke to me in a very unkind manner. I did lose weight. It took me over a year and the help of a therapist to overcome it. I do not recommend the experience. Story 14. She has, and I do. Sometimes we give ourselves excuses. I'm not in that bad shape, or I know I don't look great, but maybe they haven't noticed. It doesn't bother me. It's motivation. Story 15. I have battled anorexia for many years. If a partner said I needed to lose weight, I would end the relationship immediately. My weight is a matter between me and my treatment team to discuss. Story 16. My wife, who is a nurse, told me to get off my couch and lose some weight or she would consider dating a doctor. I used to be a marathon runner until I permanently injured myself. Story 17. Okay. I would just be happy to finally have someone. although if anything, they would ask me to gain weight. Story 18. Losing weight is easy. Getting started and staying consistent is not. A low-carb diet high in protein and vegetables, along with drinking water or something to replenish electrolytes, combined with 30 minutes or more of intense cardio each day, is effective. Starting is challenging because it feels difficult to make drastic changes to your diet and exercise intensely, but these aspects improve after about a week. Consistency is crucial. Engaging in the process together can lead to great results. The main challenge is often the mental aspect. Story 19. My doctor implied that I am overweight this morning. He is not my wife, but still. What I appreciated was how delicately he approached the topic. I stopped him and said, I absolutely realize that I have gained weight. It's all good. Story 20. Work out and try to lose weight. If you can't take honest criticism from your significant other, you should probably work on yourself. Story 21. She actually says I'm more easily irritated if I haven't been to the gym in a few days and much happier after working out. Story 22. I would do it because the first thing most people do when they become single and start dating again is focus on losing weight. Story 23. Potentially controversial take. Partners owe each other enough self-maintenance to keep themselves at or above the standards they entered the relationship with, accounting for age in the long term, of course. This includes physical and mental health, financial stability, and appearances. Significantly decreasing your standards in any of these areas without having an honest conversation with your partner is essentially a relationship bait and switch. Story 24. First, there is too much missing context. Second, I am surprised by many of these comments, especially some of the most popular ones. Story 25. I was going through a rough time with my boyfriend. He never wanted any intimacy. When I asked him about it, he said he wasn't attracted to me because I let myself go and wore too much black. We took a break immediately after he suggested I should work out, especially since I felt I was in better shape than he was. Story 26. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees. Inform them that it is over and ask them to leave the house. Doing this during the preheating stage will allow you to use your time more efficiently. Place the pizza in the oven for 16 to 18 minutes. Remove the pizza from the oven, allow it to cool, and enjoy. Story 27. I would tell them to leave me alone. For me, my body fat ratio is considered athletic. But even if that weren't the case, I don't date people who are focused on micromanaging my appearance. Break up with me if you are so turned off by how I look. Story 28. We started doing this, but eventually, it became an element of a coercive control relationship. No further details due to the immediate recency of leaving. But how would I feel? Yes, a potential red flag. Story 29. At first, I would probably be angry and upset. An argument would surely follow, and after I calmed down, I would ask what led to this request. I have experienced this before, and I am grateful to my wife for helping me gain many healthier years in my life. Story 30. My significant other and I just started working out together. We both knew we needed to. Neither of us is very overweight, but I have about 15 pounds I want to lose. I love the gym. It makes me feel so good. Story 31. I realized that this motivation is what I have been seriously lacking since COVID to get back to the gym. If it has become noticeable enough for my wife, who loves me very much, to suggest it, then I am not going to argue. I know she cares for me and wants to keep me around for as long as possible. Story 32. I understand that it's coming from a place of love, knowing my fiancé wants me to be healthier. Story 33. I had the exact opposite problem. My ex-wife would get angry and verbally attack me when I lifted weights. It was bizarre. Story 34. Take it as a compliment. They love you enough to express their true feelings instead of just ending the relationship. Story 35. I have been meaning to exercise and lose weight. This might be the motivation I need to actually do it. Story 36. If you are overweight, you should consider losing weight, especially if you were fit when you got together. Being fit and healthy is beneficial. It may be hard to hear that you have become less attractive, but it seems that your partner cares for you and wants you to improve. Story 37. I don't understand why many people would be offended by this. I am overweight, as is my husband, and we could both stand to lose weight and become healthier. If he asked me to, I would be totally okay with it. Story 38. Since we have been together, I have gained about 70 pounds. I used to be handsome, and now I feel like I'm not in good shape. She told me that I need to lose weight for my health and to be there for my kids. So I am going to lose the weight. Story 39. It depends. If the intent and objective are genuine, then I know it's a good person, and I should follow their advice. If it's just sarcasm, then maybe you are lacking confidence or I have doubts about you. Story 40. I dated a boy for 2 months. He said he considered me unhealthy, so he asked if I would join him at one of his workouts. It included running to the gym 2 miles away, and I couldn't keep up. He didn't wait for me, and I didn't know where the gym was since it was summer. He left me behind, and when I got upset, he said it was supposed to be motivation. He broke up with me the following week when he took me to Andy's for ice cream. He said he couldn't date someone as unhealthy as I was. Nothing excuses his behavior, but I do think it's especially cruel that I weighed 120 pounds when this all happened. Story 41. When I was a teenager, a girlfriend said she might start finding me unattractive if I didn't lose weight, even though I wasn't overweight. I ended the relationship. Story 42. I mean, they are being honest. If your breath stinks, would you prefer them to tell you or wait for a random person to embarrass you? Why wait until the relationship ends for you to start taking care of yourself? Story 43. Unfortunately, I can really speak to this. I gained about 50 pounds in college, going from 125 to 175 at 5 feet 3 inches. I met my college boyfriend right away, and we lived together for all 4 years. We saw his family often as they lived in the same town, and I became close with them, including younger siblings, parents, grandparents, aunts, and cousins. They were a tight-knit family. My family lived 4 hours away, so I wasn't able to see them often. His family became mine very quickly. As for the weight, I got caught up in life and was no longer an athlete. I turned to food for comfort. I witnessed my parents struggling to avoid divorce, and my mother treated me like her therapist. My grandpa passed away. He was the kind of grandpa who cheered for me at every volleyball and basketball game. I changed majors multiple times while going into nursing school, leading to lots of snacking. After 4 years, he decided to tell me he was no longer attracted to me, despite me only being a size 8. Throughout our relationship, he encouraged me to work out or eat very little, but I couldn't outpace the emotional calories I consumed. I can't tell you how many times I locked myself in a room and sobbed, knowing he thought I was overweight. He would be fine for a few months, but would revert to making those hurtful comments until I broke down again. This became a recurring issue in our relationship. I felt weak, failing not only myself but also our relationship. Eventually, we broke up. He even said the reason was that he was simply no longer attracted to me. Not only did I lose my partner of 4 years, but his family was also my support system. Fast forward 6 years. Unfortunately, trauma caught up with me again multiple times when men treated me as just a piece of meat, even when I said no. My mindset became completely distorted. All I sought was male attention, which led me to unhealthy situations online. The only thing that defined me in my mind was my weight. Still using food for comfort, I continued to gain weight, which lowered my self-worth and caused me to fall back into that cycle. Then I decided to make a change for myself. I began the process of getting gastric sleeve surgery. For those who don't know, it's about a 6-month process before approval for surgery. 5 months in, whispers of COVID-19 surfaced, and the world went quiet with massive shutdowns and quarantines. 1 week before that chaos, I took a chance to meet a guy from an app. We fell fast. Most of our time was spent at my home, and our love grew each day. For the first time, I felt truly loved for who I am, despite being a post-night shift zombie. His eyes saw my soul each time he looked at me, and when I looked back, I could feel the depth of his love. 3 months later, I had my weight loss surgery. Things went awry, and I ended up in the hospital for a month, undergoing multiple surgeries. Then I spent 3 months at home in immense pain, receiving nutrition through a tube and antibiotics through a PICC line. He was there for me in every way imaginable and never showed any sign of fatigue from this unexpected situation. We even chopped down our first Christmas tree with my feeding bag on my back and tubes in my belly. I was in love with him before the surgery, but now I'm obsessed. For years later, we are happily married. I am healthy and still weigh more than I did at my highest in college when I was told I was no longer attractive or worthy of love. But now, I know what it feels like to be loved for who I am as a person. I still struggle to look at my own body in the mirror, but I no longer feel worthless. From my experience, I suffered from severe depression, body image issues, and feelings of worthlessness. These challenges only accelerated my unhealthy habits, causing weight gain. In the end, I'm grateful for it all, because I would never have experienced true love otherwise. Story 44. I am already quite slim and work out often, but that wasn't always the case. If my partner had asked me that before, I would have probably felt hurt that they didn't feel attracted to me anymore. I would also likely resent them for asking that of me when I do not comment on their physical appearance or ask them to change it for me. Story 45. I would ask my partner, why would you like me to work out and lose weight? If my partner told me they would like me to work out and lose weight because they value my health and want to see me pursue activities that are in my best interest physically, emotionally, and mentally, I would open up further discussion about how they could support me or join me in this endeavor. I would also encourage my partner to approach topics about weight and exercise in mindful and delicate ways that would motivate me to eat better and exercise, rather than making me feel guilty about my size. If my partner said they wanted me to work out and lose weight to become more attractive, I would have a conversation with them about why they emphasize the physical aspects of my appearance instead of appreciating other qualities. Overall, I would feel hurt if my partner asked me to lose weight and work out, but I would try to understand their perspective before reacting strongly. Story 46. It would depend on several factors. 1. Did we discuss weight early in the relationship, and if so, is what was discussed aligned with what was stated then? Is it insensitive, meaning did I just give birth, have some kind of illness, or experience trauma? Did this conversation suddenly arise after years of being okay with my current weight? The reason for these questions is not that I wouldn't want to lose weight, but to avoid being hurt if weight is being used as an excuse to leave the relationship for other reasons. Story 47. It depends on the context and delivery. There is nothing wrong with wanting your partner to be healthy, but if you approach it insensitively, I may not respond positively. Story 48. I would feel a bit bad, but it's coming from a good heart, so I would just ask them if they could work out with me. Story 49. I am just barely not considered underweight, so unless I start losing weight, it is not happening. Story 50. Have them be my coach or find a fellow person who does not prioritize a healthy lifestyle. Story 51. She did ask, so I listened and we did it together. It's been one of the best experiences of my life. I went from 240 pounds down to 180 pounds, then back up to 200 pounds while adding muscle by lifting weights and eating better. Story 52. I usually say we need to do something healthier or work out. Then I start doing it to see if she notices, which she does. Then life gets in the way and the cycle repeats. Story 53. Yes, I agree. You might be correct. Will you help motivate me by demonstrating commitment and perseverance? Story 54. I would probably say thank you for your concern, but please stop encouraging me to eat out so much. Let's focus on a diet and help each other improve. Story 55. If she tells me I need to lose weight, it will feel awful, but I completely understand that she doesn't want me to suffer from weight-related issues. Long story short, the gym becomes a priority. Story 56. When I was obese, I didn't realize how overweight I truly was. I had a distorted body image. I knew I was heavy, but I didn't understand the extent of it. I thought I was fit enough as well. It wasn't until I began to lose weight on my own initiative that I fully realized my situation. It was not just about my appearance, but also about my mobility and flexibility. Many individuals do not realize they are overweight and struggle with various tasks. For them, it feels normal, especially for individuals like me who have been heavy since childhood. Even those who gain weight gradually may not be aware of it. It often takes comparing an older photo to a current one for them to recognize the change. I would be fine if my child pointed out that I was overweight, but that would depend on their perception of what constitutes being overweight. If they believe that anything above 15% body fat is excessive and needs to be lost, I would disagree. Losing weight for an active, flexible, and mobile lifestyle is beneficial, but losing weight for purely aesthetic reasons is not. I did not realize how overweight I was until I started losing weight, which ultimately improved my health. Many people never mention my weight, and some even said I looked good. Story 57, it depends on how he says it. If he goes, "You are overweight, lose some weight," then it is a big problem. If he says, "I think we should go to the gym together," then that is a different story. Story 58, it depends on the reason. I am trying to help my wife lose some weight because she is becoming unhealthy, not because she is unattractive. I want to spend the next 50 years with her, not be alone again in 10 years. Story 59, I would be happy to. I just need motivation. If I work to make my body look good, will anyone want to admire it? Or will it just result in a hug and then a solo trip to the bathroom? I have dysfunctional relationships. Story 60, I would ask her to help me with it. It is always easier to do something like that with someone there to assist and encourage you. Story 61, depends how, but since I already am, I'll use an example of the last time it came up. We were both members of a gym and joined together since he said what I was doing wasn't working enough, and I told him I wasn't going to the gym alone. It wasn't like he was in any position to criticize my health based on his own. We joined, I took the free personal training options and paid extra for someone with physiotherapy training due to my disabilities, one of which is degenerative. My initial focus was on building strength in areas that would help alleviate stress on the damaged parts rather than focusing on weight loss. However, I was already continuing with a calorie deficit, so there would still be weight loss. After 3 months of going 3 times a week, he had lost more weight than I had, which is pretty normal since men generally lose weight faster than women, and he told me this meant I wasn't trying hard enough. I told him to go find someone who already looks the way he wants them to and ensure they have perfect physical health since he can't cope with anyone who doesn't. If your partner is criticizing but not helping or supporting you, they need to leave. You don't need that in your life. If you're happy as you are, they met you and wanted to date you as you are. They have no business demanding change. Story 62. Anyone who reacts negatively to being told they need to lose weight is being unreasonable. Exercise is not difficult for most people. Just do it. Story 63. I take it as reassurance that she still loves me and wants me to stay longer. I would expect her to share that experience with me, as I also appreciate physical fitness. Story 64. It depends on the context. Is it coming from a desire to get healthier together, from a sense of disgust that this is necessary, or from a place of concern? Story 65. I wanted to get healthier and simply asked my wife to join me. 7 months later, we have both lost over 100 pounds collectively and work out regularly. Doing it together helps us stay motivated to exercise and maintain a healthy diet at home. It has also brought us closer together. Story 66. I experienced a similar situation when I was 30 years old. I wasn't overweight then, but my partner complained so much that I started doing 32 sit-ups every morning. After a full year with no change, I gave up. She complained about everything. After 14 years, she walked out and my new life began. Now I am older, overweight, and happy. She has been trying to get back with me ever since. She often reminisces about the good times we had. Perhaps if there had been less complaining, our marriage could have been saved. I got married for better or worse. Not many seem to understand the importance of this commitment. I have now been with my partner longer than I was married, closing in on 30 years, and she has never been able to hold on to a man longer than a year. They always leave. Story 67. I totally understand. In my case, we married 20 years ago. I was 80 kilograms. Today, I weigh 115 kilograms. In the meantime, she was okay practicing no sport. Now she goes to fitness daily and has six-pack abs. She is not asking me to do that, but I feel pressure. I should take care of my body, not only for aesthetics but also because I am 59. Few older, overweight people remain healthy. She is right. It might be painful to accept, but I need to do it for the good of everyone. Story 68. To be honest, it wouldn't bother me much. If anything, if my significant other is willing to join me, it will give me a big motivation boost. Story 69. That depends on how much I value my significant other. Would the relationship suffer if I refused or tried and failed to lose weight? I would also look in the mirror and do a self-assessment. Does my significant other have a valid point? Ultimately, the decision would be mine. Story 70. I would be thrilled. I work out at unusual times now, but if she wanted to motivate me more, she would need to be okay with taking care of the kids while I am exercising. Story 71. I would say absolutely, let's go together. Being pregnant has made me feel insecure, and I'm ready to have her and return to a healthy weight. Story 72. There are a lot of guys I have worked with over the years that I probably haven't seen in years. Story 73. I would be grateful if my partner cared about my physical health and well-being enough to communicate with me. While my feelings may be hurt, I would understand that it hurts because it is true, and the problem must be addressed to preserve the quality of life. Story 74. They still want to be with you, but they're not feeling attracted to you. They know why, and they're willing to share that information with you. Don't get mad. Get off the couch. Story 75. I think that sounds great. How about you come home right after work, and I go to the gym from 5:30 to 6:30 while you prepare a healthy dinner for us and the girls. Thank you, love. Then you can go to the gym after we finish dinner and have cleaned up. Story 76. Metabolic disease, including obesity and being overweight, is a complex health issue that the diet industry profits from each year. I have been with my partner for over 10 years, and if he asked me to exercise and lose weight, I would realize he has not been paying attention to my years of recovery from eating disorders and medical appointments. Meeting our partners with compassion and curiosity is vital to healthy relationships. If he asked me to exercise and lose weight, I would understand he has no compassion or curiosity for my well-being, and I would leave. Story 77. I know every Redditor is perfect and claims they would happily oblige. But I would be hurt. Emotions may say, my partner isn't attracted to me, but I think logic would prevail, and I would get it done for her. Story 78. This really depends on the context. Objectively, it is good to listen to the concerns of your significant other. However, it ultimately comes down to their intentions, how they approach the situation, and your willingness to work on it. Are they concerned about your health, or do they want you to look a certain way against your wishes? Do they want to lose weight as well and just want you to join them, or are they not making an effort but insisting that you do it? Story 79. We purposely do not work out together so we can have some time to ourselves when we do. We have been fairly active, hitting the gym for about 15 years. Story 80. I walk trails and tracks. It is relaxing to escape from the concrete jungle, even if it is just for an hour at a time. I sometimes see deer or hawks, which feels like an adventure. Story 81. It depends on how she asked and why. If it was a snarky, backhanded comment, then no. However, if it was a genuine concern, like, I noticed you've started gaining a few pounds. Is everything okay? Then I'm more likely to acquiesce. Story 82. I realize I have let myself go more than I thought. I would like to see these answers broken down by gender. If wives say it to their husbands, are the husbands okay with it compared to how wives feel? Story 83. It is estimated that engaging in sexual activity expends an average of 101 calories per session in men and 69 calories per session in women. Story 84. I would start working out and losing weight because my wife has both my confidence and support. Story 85. Let's say we both need to lose weight. Let's do it together. If I needed to, it depends. If I didn't need to, but my boyfriend or girlfriend did, then no. Story 86. I know she is right, and I will do it because that is what I did and am doing. She just wants me to stay healthy so we can have a long life together. And I think that is very sweet. Story 87. Hold on. Let's have this discussion after the medication takes effect. The imaginary significant other disappears. Problem solved. In all seriousness, I would probably reply, yes, you're right, and try to schedule a home workout routine. Story 88. I would probably agree and feel more motivated to do so if I were in a position where I would be informed about it. Story 89. If I were new to a relationship, I would be upset. However, since my wife and I have been together for 14 years, I would ask myself, have I let myself go that badly? Story 90. I feel that men and women react to this very differently. As a man, I have been taught, of course, to never comment on a woman's appearance. If my wife wanted me to lose weight, I would have no problem with that. I want her to always be attracted to me. I believe there is a proper way to bring this up, but simply saying, lose weight, is not the right approach. Story 91. Well, if they are genuinely asking and it's affecting our marriage, I would do it because I love them and I love myself enough to get in shape. Story 92. I was embarrassed about how badly I had treated my body. It was evident. I felt regret for becoming complacent in my relationship and for not putting in the effort anymore. I was motivated to get healthier and improve my appearance. Story 93. Tell her she has a point. After I look down at my poor mile time, I am going to blame it on the smoky air right now. Story 94. That happened to me, but the person who asked me led by example, worked out with me, and maintained their diet the whole time. They were concerned about my health, and I appreciate them for it. Story 95. Depends on the context. I pulled and pulled until I got the information out of my boyfriend years ago, and he is usually straightforward. But he loves me. He doesn't want to hurt my feelings ever. So when he eventually said something and I got it out of him, he was incredibly nice and gentle about it. So, don't ever let someone make you feel bad and claim, I'm just blunt, when there are many ways to say the same thing in a kinder way. I usually pay attention to my body and my weight, so I'd probably not be surprised if they said something because I'd already be noticing it in myself. All that to say, depends on context. If they're rude about it, forget them. But usually I want to notice it for myself. I never want to change my body for other people, but because I want to see that change. If they notice it first and then I do too and want to change, that's fine. Story 96. I would feel confused because I work out frequently and maintain a lean physique. However, if I were to let myself go, it would indicate a serious issue, and I would hope that my partner would encourage me to get back in shape. This is my perspective. Many people might feel upset about this topic. It is delicate, but it is a valid and important discussion. If you are going to ask your partner to eat better and exercise, you should be fully willing to participate alongside them. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.